Guys, welcome back to the Help of Learning. So here in this particular part, we will check that how to edit the data. Okay. So first of all, before of it, let's have a look for what we have did in the previous session. Okay. So we had created a index.html and we created a form for user interface to add a question and its multiple choice. Okay. We are discussing about the previous video. Then we created a URL, that means a path for some form data, and creating a path for sending a form data from index.html to views.py file. Totally true. So that views, what we have did in the views, writing a logic to save a data in database and showing a data on result.html page. Okay. So that means our data was saved in the database, and that database we can retrieve a data. So that was the previous operation. Let's discuss about the and through the database, it will retrieve a data and it will send you back to the result.html page. Now we have to say edit and update, whatever the operation you can say. Okay, we have to see this operation. So first, what we have to do in result.html, select a particular question for editing. That means I will show you the meanwhile the code. So you can see the last in the previous video, after submitting a questions, we retrieve data and it shows the data in result.html page. So here, if you just look at last column, edit and delete. Here I haven't given any kind of labeling. Okay, edit and delete. I just retrieve all the IDs, that means the objects. Let's have a quick view of our database, db.sqlite. And here you can see that in this particular table, question table, we have a total number of records 6. And here we have ID 1, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then 5, 6, 7 is missing, because I think at the time of writing a code, at the time of testing a application, I think I deleted that code, that ID. So 8 and 9. That means total 6 records are present in our database in our question table. And you can see all the records, all the objects, that is 1, 2, 3, these are the IDs, but this is also called as the objects. So these all IDs, that means these all objects hold the particular record. Hold the particular record, that means row wise data. So when we have retrieved the record, and let's have a look of result.html. So here question as well as all the multiple choices we had, and right now in this particular tag in the table data, what we are doing exactly, I.id and I.id. We are also retrieving the ID, so that along with question and its choices, it will also retrieve your ID. That means the ID we are talking about the ID column. Okay, that's why when we will jump on our result page, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is missing, 8 and 9. And both ID are present on both the columns. So in this particular video, we are going to check that how to edit a data. Okay, we are not going to see the delete video. We will see on next video. Okay, or next recording. So in this edit, what will happen exactly? We have already created the data. Okay, so URL path for edit a question, and after all that, sending a question ID from result.html page to use.py file. Okay. So that's why here we have an ID. So when we are going to click, suppose I have to change the detail, like I have to change the choices, I have to change the questions, whatever changes or updations I have to do, that is only possible by using the ID. Because here right now we don't have only, we doesn't have only a single record, but we also have a multiple records. So we can't do a updation for all the records. Obviously, we have a choices to do a updation for particular one record. So here we have a ID for this particular one record. Okay, we can select any one ID. Whenever I'm going to click any one ID, literally what will happen exactly? Internally, let's have a look of code. So in result.html, I have created URL, new URL, edit set, and through this we are passing a ID. That means right now we are not only designing URL. Along with URL, we are going to pass the ID of particular record. That means whenever I'm going to click on any one ID, so this URL will get called. Just try to understand the process. Whenever I'm going to click on this any ID, this URL will get called. Okay, and this is your result.html. Okay, so ID, this URL will get called, and this ID, because you know that when you retrieve, so each row has its own ID. Okay, Each rows has its own ID. So whenever I'm going to click on any ID, the ID will pass through this URL, and definitely it will pass through the URL and it will goes to your urls.py file your, of your application of your app. And here you can see edit set. I have created a URL pattern, and here we are accepting. We are just showing that URL pattern. We are also passing user ID and edit question. We have created a one function edit question and name equal to. We have given the URL name edit set. Okay. So this will travel. This will travel. This ID will travel through the path, and it will reach to the views.web. So write a logic to retrieve a data. What we'll do using that ID, by using that ID is detected, by using that ID, we will retrieve a particular one record of our database. And the entire logic we have to put inside of views.py file. Entire logic we have to get inside of views.py. Okay. So let's have a in views.py file. We have a edit data save. Okay. Because here you can see in this URL we have a edit question. Okay, right now we have edit question. So definitely we have to edit a question. So we'll write a logic for edit a question. Here we are accepting ID. The ID which is, let's have a look from here. The ID is just traveling through this URL. Okay, through this edit data save you edit set URL, and it will reach to the views.py file. So here in this particular function, we have created a one more parameter ID to accept ID which we have selected for clicking the result.sql page. Now question.object.get. So when we use the get function, whenever we have to select a particular one record, we use the all function whenever we have to select all the records. Okay, so we have a different kind of function, and we have to do a more for this function. Let's visit on the Django.org site, official website, and check all the APIs. Okay, so question is your table name. Object means we are selecting from all objects. We are selecting a one object. So from this column, from this table, we are selecting a primary key column and the ID which is coming from the result.html page. Both, if both will match, then definitely it will retrieve from your database. It will retrieve a particular that data and will store in edit queue object. And back to that, we are sending a edit queue as a key and value pair on edit.html page. So in edit.html page, what we have exactly? In edit.html page, basically, if we talk about in edit.html page, sending a data from views file to views py file to edit.html file and display only selected section. Okay. Now, what we'll do, we have write down the logic, select the particular data. What is going on here in result.html, whatever the ID, click on it, that ID will travel through the urls.py file to the views.py file. Here we are accepting that ID which is coming from result.html and this particular parameter ID, and we are just matching with the existing ID. If both ID will match, then particular record will be retrieved, and we are going to store that record in edit queue given. So edit.html. Now we are sending a response on edit.html along with its key and value pair. So in edit.html, we have a same thing. We have a same thing, that means whatever we have seen in the index.html, we have a same record. But right now in value, the value we are just showing all the selected values. Okay, so here edit q dot question dot text edit q. This is your key. Okay, this is your object edit q. Just have a remember. Edit q. This is your object. So edit q is a key and value pair we are sending. Okay. So here in edit.html, by using that object, you can retrieve the question text, you can retrieve the choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, and so on. Okay. So we'll retrieve all the data. So let's click on any one ID. Like, so I want to change the ID 1. What is a Python? And we have a 4 choices. I'm going to click on it. Yeah, you can see in edit set, we got this page. Only particular one record was selected and we got the data here. What is a Python? Programming language, mathematics, coding paradigms, data science. The record which is present in this particular table. If you go and if you check the database, this particular table, so here you see what is a Python. This is the first record. And here we have a choices: coding language, mathematics, coding paradigms, and data science. So here you can see we have all the records, all the data. Okay, which particular record one data, particular object one data. Okay. Now what we have to do, if we have written the data, then we have to create a URL. Other URL we have to create to save a data, a new changes data. So definitely I'm going to change the data from here. Like what is a Python? I don't want to change the question name, but yes, change the I want to change the option. Like I want to change the first choice. Python programming paradigm. Second choice, algorithm. Third, it's a web development. I'm just giving any randomly any kind of choices. Okay. Fourth, system software. Okay. So when I add this data, so for submitting this new kind of data, I just change the choices. Changes. Suppose if you are looking to change any particular choice two, you can do a choice of it. You want to change this particular choice one, two, or you want to change the entire choices, or you want to change the question and choices. You can do whatever you have. Okay. So for that, we have to for saving this data, we have to create a new URL, that is edit save data URL, and that URL will submit your data in views.py file. And definitely we have to create a new function in views.py file to save a edited data. Okay, edited data we have to save it. So let's have a look. Edit.html we have created for submission. At the time of form submission, we have created the one URL, the URL edit save data, and we are also passing the edit queue.id. That means the particular ID. See, the particular ID is very important. Here ID is playing the very important role. So the particular ID will also travel along with this URL. URL is nothing but your path. Like we have so many national highways in our country. So every highway has its own name. National Highway 40, 45, 40, 50, whatever. But at the same, every national highway has its own name. So similarly, here this path is having a name edit save data, and along with this path, we are also getting an ID. The ID which we have selected for the particular question, the choices and the questions we have changed. This ID will pass to this URL. Again, we have to just check the URL. So that yeah. So here in edit save data, passing the and that ID will receive in .py file by this edit save data function. This parameter will receive the ID which is coming from edit.html. Okay, because we have right now changed the values for the particular ID, and ID is one. For particular ID one, we have changed the entire value. Except a question, we have changed the entire choices. So this ID will pass through this URL, and definitely it will receive here in edit data save function, ID parameter function. Then again using this question.object.get, because get function is responsible match single line to responsible to one record at a time. Okay, because we have a different kind of functions. It's the ORM concept and awesome concept. It's odd because we don't have to not a lot of complex way we can write it very easily. So question.object.get ID is equal to ID. Again this parameter. This first ID means you can also keep a PK, that means a primary key. It's not a PK of Khan movie, it's a PK. Okay, so primary key, and this ID is basically the ID which is coming from edit.html page. If both ID will match, you will get retriever data. You will record and you will store in save obj. This is new object. Then again, whatever the data are coming by request.post method, we are checking if this is coming by the post method. Like here you can see method is equal to post. So via post method, we will accept all the records. And here what we will do using this object, because we have to save the particular record. Or we are not saving the record. Okay, we are not doing a changes for all the record for all the objects. Save dot obj question text. We have kept the question. Okay, that means using this object right now, this particular save obj, this object is having a particular ID for particular record one. So using that ID, you will store the, you will select the column name, and in that column name, the values which is coming and storing in this variable. So we will use this variable here. That means this object ID is one. This is your column name. This is your variable name. Okay. Again, save over here. This is having your ID. That means using that particular one ID, we are calling or we are accessing all the columns. And you know that how to access the member variables of any class. है ना? So models.py file is basically there are these are the variables, you can say that, but these are the things also, and this is very important. So views.py file is going to, by using that particular ID, you are selecting a column name. And in that column name, whatever the value you have stored in your variable, you are just storing that value. Then save obj, you are just calling again question.obj object.on function. It will record the data. After saving, all data will be retrieved. Read obj. You are sending read obj as the key and value pair. So when I submit this data, just check this option, because after submitting you will get the result exactly like this. Now you can see what is the title. We check the option, and after that option we can see coming paradigm, algorithms, web development, system software, particular about your edge operation and by the learning. Ask the question. Know that this video is little bit programmer as a developer, you guys to be very much fast to understand, because when we do a code only a, it's very a code framework based structuring the entire project. You have to be file, file. And that time it cause a lot of confusion, it creates a lot of confusion that how this is happening. So I suggest you to give up, okay, don't give up it, just spend your time to understand what is going on. This is very basic operation. So, I haven't taken any advanced operation. Advanced operation is also very okay. Okay, thank you. So enjoy the Django learning.